Welcome back to another edition of Everything Football 62. I'm your host, Jonathan Big Tex Johnson. You know, the other day in the news, being here in the DMV area and being that at one time or another, I thought this was a pretty, nice sports town. You know, coming from Texas, and I've been up here since September of 1987. And being an avid, as you guys well know, an avid, Cowboys fan and whatnot. The Redskins and whatnot. That's rivalry and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I've seen in the news when I sit up there, when I saw that the Skins had actually traded for Case Keenum, and I was just like, you know what, I gotta do a show on this because it sparked something in me to do some research to really get to the bottom of this and what is wrong with the Skins. And I didn't really realize how miserable the Skins have been. Mind you, as a young eighth grader going through high school and then coming up here when he was 19 years old, the Redskins were on top of the game. They was in the NFC East and they were on top of the games with Joe Gibbs. The Redskins from that of let's do the knowledge on this. From 1982, right? From 1982 to 1992, in about 11-year span, the Skins went 116-52. 4 trips to the Super Bowl, 3 Super Bowl, three-time Super Bowl champs. Right, and this under Joe Gibbs, right? He did this with something that hasn't happened before, or hasn't happened since, obviously, with 3 different quarterbacks. He did it with Joe Theismann, who was under him for 5 years. He did that. Joe Theismann, in the 5 years with Gibbs, it was a 2-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champ, MVP, and Offensive Player of the Year. 3 years with Doug Williams. Doug Williams started 1 year, won a Super Bowl. Mark Rippon, 5 years, 2-time Pro Bowler, 1-time Super Bowl champ. Now, mind you, in the midst of this time, John Riggins led the league in rushing, rushing touchdowns 2 times, back-to-back years. And again, Mark Mosley, in that whatever ridiculous season, that the strike shortened season where Mark Mosley became the NFL MVP as a kicker. Still don't understand that to this day, but that's something I guess I'll never get. Now, mind you, that was from 82 to 1992, right? Not a lot went on after that. You go to 2000 into 2011, the Skins went to the playoffs twice, right? This is where this thing gets tricky at. It's not even about it getting tricky. It shows you the ineptness of what's going on. And I talked about this once before, a couple of months ago, when I spoke to you about owners and whatnot. But let's go to 2012. So since 2012, RG3 they took RG3 second in the 2012 draft, and they took Kirk Cousins in the 4th round. Now, in 7 years from 2012, okay, from 2012, these it's just unreal. From 2012 to 2018, right? In 7 years, the Skins have won the East twice. They won the East twice. Since then, in the midst of that time, this is what happened to RG3. RG3 has played for 2 other teams since this time, 2 other teams, and was out of football for a year. He's with the Ravens now. Cousins, from 2016 to 2017, right, made over $40+ million, $43 million, being franchised twice in 16 and 17. Both of those guys got NFC East, won the NFC East champs. Now, Cousins has made all that money in his 6 years as a Skin. 26, 30, and 1. Okay. He ends up going to that of the Minnesota Vikings, 3-year, $84 million. And he's making $28 million a year. Now, that's what's went on with them with them at that particular time. Now, mind you, in this particular point in time, with the Redskins, right? You know, they have, in that 7-year span, have missed the playoffs 5 years. Won the East twice and lost both of the playoff games that they went to in the wild card. Okay? They get Alex Smith last year. They were leading the NFC East. He finished with a 6-4 record before he broke his leg, and they were looking good. They really missed that. Right? Breaks his leg. Ironically enough, Joe Theismann broke his leg. I remember seeing that in the hospital. I was in the hospital with bronchitis when the whole Lawrence Taylor thing, when he broke his leg that Monday night. Never forget that. That's my senior year in high school. From 2012 to 2018, like I said, the Skins are 48-63. 2 NFC East titles and 2 playoff appearances. Missed the playoffs, like I said, 5 years in 7 years. They've missed it 5 times in a 7-year span. Now they go out and they get Case Keenum. Another 2012 from that 2012 draft. Mind you, undrafted free agent. Caught lightning in the bottle in 2017 with the Minnesota Vikings and whatnot. Got to the NFC Championship game. And ironically enough, he's coming to the Skins. And of course, Cousins that took over his team, which, like I told you guys, how they screwed over Teddy Bridgewater. How, if you look at it from that perspective, they took both of those guys took Teddy Bridgewater's team. But I've already done I've done a thing on that. Right? So they get a journeyman quarterback who has a 26-28 record. Clean house. Jay Gruden, since being with the Redskins, has a 35-44-1 record. That's not getting it done, Dan Snyder. And I'm not a Skins fan. I love it. But that's not getting it done. That's not getting it done at all. And since that's not getting it done, then let's go down to with it. Dan Snyder. He's that same type of owner that I told you guys about a couple of months ago when I said owners that need to be held responsible for fielding these sorry teams. How can you be a billionaire because you know business, you know how to make money because you have a product or you have a skill that people pay big money for, right? So you know how to do certain things like that. And if you don't, you have enough bread to hire the best people to do that. How do you not field a city like this this is you know what I'm saying, football town. I mean, with the Caps winning and stuff like that or whatever. But like I said, how is it that you do not do better than what you've done? Put this in perspective. Dan Snyder bought the Redskins in 1999 for like about, I don't know, was it $800 million or something to that effect, right? Snyder since 1999 is since he's been the owner of that team has won 139 and 173 with one tie. 5 NFC East titles, 5 playoff appearances, 7 games in the playoffs, and they are 2-5. That's a 44.5 winning percentage. Why isn't this man or this owner, how does he still have a football team? It's obvious. I know somebody said, what you talking about, Tex? He got the bread, his own team. He can do whatever he want to do. And that's the point I'm talking about. Because like I said, anybody else who is this inept at their job, they are fired. That's almost equivalent to a quarterback giving him a 4 or 5 year starting job, and that joker has a 44% winning percentage in about a 4 or 5 year span. So this is somebody that's probably throwing 16, 17 picks a year, or about 12 or 13 picks a year, maybe 15 touchdowns, and probably going something like 6 and 10 on a consistent basis. That quarterback will not have his job long, and that coach will not have his job long. If you follow what I'm saying, they will not be there. But because these guys own the team, they're able to do these particular type of things and get away with it. Because as owning the team, because I'm the owner, I can pretty much do whatever I want to do. And there's no repercussions behind it. Because people are going to come watch football, especially in this town. Because they love their skins here. I give them that. They deserve better. As long as they don't beat the Cowboys, of course. But the point but really what I'm trying to say in all honesty, they better be trying to draft a quarterback. That's what they need to be trying to do. That's one of the main things they better be trying to do. Because I you know what I'm saying? That franchise is snake bitten, quarterback snake bitten, and franchise snake bitten right about now. There's rumors in some drafts they're trying to get the kid from out of Duke. They need to do something. They got to draft a quarterback because they need a quarterback. Now you do need a quarterback in this league. You have to have a quarterback. There's no question about that. But what you don't need to be doing is overpaying the position. That's what you don't need to be doing, or throwing money at the position, right? So we'll see what they do. Maybe we'll get Greer from West Virginia, or this kid Daniel Jones from out of Duke. But they better draft a quarterback instead of looking at a tight end in mock drafts. But this is what I'm talking about, the ineptness of this particular franchise. And how is it that you're able to still keep a football team? Why is this possible? If you are inept, if you are not doing your job, if you have a poor performance record in your job in a 90-day period, in most cases, they will get rid of you. They will get rid of you and find somebody else. So you explain to me, how does that work? Because this guy, I can own the team and I can pretty much do whatever I want to do. That's why I say after a certain time, like I told you guys, the Detroit Lions in 54 years has been to the playoffs 12 times. Do you know how ridiculous that is? And I think maybe it won 1 or 2 playoff games in that time frame. Do you know how ridiculous that is? And they still have a football team because they have money. So this is really showing you, if you have money, you pretty much can do whatever you want to do or care, because obviously you're not loving football. It's a hustle to you. Family money. You know? Trust fund kid. How does Dan Snyder keep his job in almost the 20 to 21 years he's been there, and he has a winning percentage of 44%, 139 and 173 and 1 tie. And then he's keeping a coach that's going 35 and 44 and 1. And he's keeping them. So I know they're going to hear a lot of it this year. It's do or die this year. But it's funny, it's do or die for the coach. But how much do or die is it for the owner? And they need to have certain things in place, in my opinion, in the NFL. If you haven't done certain things in a decade and you have a winning percentage like that, or like the Cleveland Browns, or like the Cincinnati Bengals, or like those type of clubs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers and teams like that, you need to find some other owner that really want to take this thing serious, because it shouldn't be that much ineptness. Of course, you're going to miss. You're going to have downtime. That comes with every team at some point in time. But how much longer it's got to come along with this team here? I'm just pointing this out to people who are Redskins fans. And this is a complete observation. They can stay sorry all they want as far as I'm concerned. But as a fan of the game, you're supposed to, anytime you get ready to field a team as an NFL team, and as an owner, you're supposed to put your very best out there. That's just my take on it. And the Redskins, in my opinion, have not even done anything remotely close to that. They haven't done anything like that, and they're not doing anything like that. And they have sat there and they're still playing this game, and this town deserves better. Now, I like to rib them guys and whatnot, the Redskins fans and stuff like that, because I'm a Cowboys fan. We both in the East and rivals and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, this is the point where I made that video a few months ago. This is right here proves my point. That proves the point right there. How does Daniel Snyder, aside from him having money, I know it's nothing's going to ever happen. How does he still have a job? How does he still have a team? If this was anybody else's job in your, say, in other words, who fires the boss? Who fires the boss? Who fires the boss? And NFL, like I said, with all the, like I said, how do you still be, in other words, how do you still keep a team if you've been that inept, if you've been that putrid, if you've been that pathetic over a certain amount of time? How does the Ford family still keep a Detroit Lions? How does Snyder still keep his team? How does Brown still keep his team in Cincinnati? He owns it. Okay, something needs to change, because after about 10 years and you haven't done anything, it shows that you're not trying to do anything. So, y'all check me out, man. That's just my little rant today and stuff. I can sit up there and sing that. So y'all check me out, man. Everything Football 62. You know what I'm saying? Check me out over on Twitter. Y'all like this? Subscribe to the channel. Share. Like. Got any any debating going on, stuff like that, put it down there below and whatnot. Also check me out over on Twitter, UnctupMan62 or Everything Football 62. And like I tell y'all every time, there is no GOAT or no greatest of all time as long as time's still going on. You guys have a good one.